The Battle of Cannae is one of the most famous battles between Carthage and Rome during the Punic Wars. The conflict took place in modern-day Puglia in southeastern Italy, just outside the ancient village of Cannae, on August 2nd, 216 BCE. The battle was the largest of the three Punic Wars, seeing roughly 80,000 Roman and Roman allied forces take on about 50,000 Carthaginian troops under the command of Hannibal. Before the battle even began, Hannibal and his forces took control of the Aufidus River. This would strain the Roman troops as now they weren't able to maintain a supply of water during the grueling August heat. Hannibal then moved his troops south and tactically positioned them facing north towards the Romans. The Romans were forced to set up facing south, towards incoming wind that would blow dust and grit into their eyes, a disadvantage that, according to Roman historian Livy, immensely impacted the Romans' ability to see and fight. Hannibal strategically positioned the Romans so that they were hemmed in by the river as well, which restricted their mobility. This resulted in the Roman lines becoming deeper than they were wide. The Roman generals, Lucius Aemilius Paulus and Gaius Terentius Varro, positioned their cavalry on the wings of their main infantry, which they set up in extremely deep, narrow formations in the hopes of pushing straight through the Carthaginian lines. Once Hannibal saw the position of the Roman attack, he immediately ordered his troops to spread out so they weren't so bulky in the middle at the front end of the assault. He would put Gallic and Spanish infantry in the front to counter the Roman push, with two groups of African troops reinforcing their flanks. Hannibal then positions his fast cavalry troops on the wings of his main force, essentially having his forces adopt a crescent formation. Hannibal anticipated that the Romans would be too focused on their heavily reinforced center and too concentrated on breaking through the Carthaginian center to worry about reinforcing their flanks, which they absolutely were. This would be the downfall of the Romans. Just as Hannibal had planned, once the Romans pushed far enough into the center of his line, he had his cavalry on the outside wings move in on the severely underdefended Roman flanks. The victorious cavalry troops then made their way around to the back of the Roman force, effectively encircling them. All that was left was ensuring the Gallic, Spanish, and African lines of Hannibal's forces in the center did not break. They did not. Hannibal's crescent became a circle around the Roman troops, and without any way of retreating, the Roman forces were torn to shreds. It is estimated that of all fighting-aged Roman men between the ages of 18 and 50, 20% of them died at Cannae. Of the estimated 80,000 Roman soldiers engaged at Cannae, only around 14,000 survived, with 10,000 more being captured, all while Carthage lost just 6,000 men. The Battle of Cannae is considered one of the best tactical victories in military history, and one of the earliest examples of a successful double envelopment tactic. The victory displayed Hannibal's military genius and the utter incompetence of politically appointed Roman generals. Despite this, however, the war would not continue to go in Carthage's favor. Hannibal had hoped that this demoralizing defeat would cause South Italians to abandon Rome and join his cause, so that further fighting could be avoided once Rome had fallen. However, all Cannae did to the Romans was spark their resistance and steal their determination for the long war to come. Despite being begged by his generals, Hannibal refused to march on Rome, and instead waited for their war to surrender, which never came. This time spent waiting gave the Romans enough time to recover, and Roman general Scipio would eventually go on to win the Battle of Zama in 202 BCE, defeating Hannibal and effectively ending the Second Punic War.